Hi, Selena today for Who is Jesus Today. And I'm going to be addressing today in this message, particularly the ladies, to you who are women of God, and to you out there who have yet to come into being servants of the Lord. But many of you are on your way. And I want to encourage you today to allow yourself to be brought closer to Jesus. Many of you are familiar with St. John chapter 4. It's a chapter that you are familiar with, hearing sermons and teachings on it, and it's been very encouraging for us, for women and men. But of course, this is a Jesus doing something that's out of the ordinary of the, customs, norms of the day. And he encounters a woman on her way to a well to do what's her routine, and that is to get water. And so he introduces himself by giving her a request. Give me a drink. And she happens to take notice. First of all, she was aware of who he is. He's a Jew. And also, Jesus is taking out the time to stop and talk to a Samaritan woman. And that was not considered, appropriate, right? It was not what was customary. Well, Jesus, we know, of yesterday, today, and who will always be. He is not in line with the customs and the traditions of men. He carries out the will of the Father. And so Jesus didn't care about the rules. He began to engage with her. And that she began to notice. He asked her for a drink, but what really got to her was that he stopped and talked to her. And when he's asking her for a drink, this is going to lead her right to where he wants to bring her, because Jesus knows where you are and I am. He knew where she was. She was thirsty. She's doing this. This is her routine. She knows of this natural water, but she doesn't know of a living water. And the living water, the Lord's going to begin to reveal to her that he has a water for her where she doesn't have to thirst anymore. And it also leads to everlasting life. And I'm going to go into this more in depth. There's much to unpack in this chapter. And I know we are familiar with a woman who doesn't have a lifestyle and track record, right, with men, and the Lord, he exposes her type of lifestyle. But yet we can see his love and care for this troubled woman. It wasn't so much about the relationships, that's the symptoms, but what was the sin? She was thirsty. And he knew how her thirst can be quenched, so she could not thirst anymore. To make this a little more, applicable to our lives here, let's just really imagine how sometimes we try to substitute pure water. I don't know about you, but if you have gone to the gym, right, they have this whole selections of different types of water. The water may be grape water or lemon, or it has something in it to give you more energy, to hydrate you. But it's supposed to be still a type of water. And sometimes we buy and we drink these things, but it's not like drinking a bottle of pure water. There is no substitute for water. When you put something else in it, it becomes tainted. It's something else. Even if they say it's a mineral, I am fully convinced nothing is going to be better to quench our thirst than just drinking natural water. And so the same way we can try to substitute in the natural what is pure water. In the spiritual, we are thirsty and longing to be satisfied and have our thirst quenched. And for this, a woman at the well, none of those relationships could do that, and they weren't. And the one that she was currently in, that the Lord exposed, it wasn't working for her either. It wasn't working. It wasn't going to work because what she needed was deeper than a relationship. And that's true. So many things we use to substitute for our thirsts, but there's only the true and the living water. So I will go into more depth with this chapter, and I will be uploading a message shortly that's more in depth, and time is spent in it as well. And I know that we could approach this chapter in different ways. It's been a blessing for many of us. And I would say, as women in the Lord, we are reminded how the Lord chooses to engage with us and to use us. And He has not come to silence us, but to actually to release us in the world with His a message of salvation, the good news. Yes, we know there are times when it is, highlighted that we need to have the right type of conduct around our husbands and places of worship, right? And that it's a time to speak and it's a time to keep silent. But that does not mean that the Lord has shut down our voices, ladies. So, women of God of the world, and for those of you who have yet to come to know how special you are to Jesus, because you are, and He has a plan for your life. And the Lord wants to use us and send us, and He wants to commission us to speak not on the behalf of anyone, but on behalf of Him first and foremost. And so I will be going into this more, but I just want to say, the woman at the well, Jesus sets the model of how He interacts with a woman of her background. A woman that was not supposed to be engaging with Him as a Jew. And it was also pointed out that Jesus was talking to a woman, and a Samaritan, a woman. But a lot more continued to happen with this encounter. And she got to know Him more and more, to the point that she knows, it was said, she was told that Christ, the Messiah, would come. And she believed. She encountered Him because He knew her and He met her exactly where she was. He exposed and He covered her and He sent her. And she went about spreading the good news and adding to the numbers of followers of Yeshua. I'll go into this more. Say to the ladies out there, God's given us a voice to speak for Him. And just like the Samaritan woman, regardless of what we face in the past, the backgrounds, today is the day of salvation. And when the Lord, He calls you unto Himself, He also wants to use you and to send you and to release you in the world, to tell your stories, your testimony of what it was like when Jesus interact with you. So those are my thoughts, and I'll be ready soon for a video that will be going into much more depth of St. John chapter 4. Thank you for listening. You can like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Until next time, Shalom.